Being a Calm Mind sweeper was one of the key factors in my decision to take Sinistcha early in this season's low tier draft league. I love a good endgame win condition, and Sinistcha is one of the best in the format. For a week 1 battle against Tight, we are bringing it right away, with Jason limited in ways he can handle the powerful special attacker. He has been on a roll though recently, so we're going to need to put in more than just a strong win condition to get through our first week battle in the LTM. If you're enjoying the Draft League content, make sure to subscribe to the channel. We're trying to hit 1,000 subscribers and upload Draft League content like this every week, which you won't want to miss. Getting into our first matchup of the season, our team consists of Gudra Hisui, Terra Sinistcha, Tauros Paldea Aqua, Talonflame, Mudsdale, Monkey Dory, Frostlass, Dudunsparce, Regirock, and Cutiefly. Jason's team is Lycanroc Dust, Terra Volcanion, Sandy Shocks, Shaman, Araquanid, Hitmontop, Mimikyu, Weezing, Umbreon, and Terra Noctowl. Jason's team is taking advantage of a new Terra captain allowed in this season of the LTM, Terra Volcanion. This is a big add for Volcanion, allowing it to remove the fire type, lose the Stealth Rock's weakness, and gain access to threatening additional coverage that can punish its defensive checks. Bulky dragons are a great way to switch into the Volcanion, while not anymore with access to Terra Fairy. That isn't the only problem we have to deal with in this matchup. With Araquanid providing access to sticky webs, we need to build our team in a way that minimizes their effect, especially in a situation where we aren't bringing Defog Talonflame. Weezing also causes a similar issue with Toxic Spikes, that can be easier to handle with our Monkey Dory. The lead this week is our Terra Sinistcha, with Dragon Terra to provide a better defensive typing against a Volcanion. I talked about in the draft analysis how powerful the Calm Mind set would be, especially with Terra, and we get to see it in action right away. The combination of Calm Mind and Strength Stat allow you to overpower both special and physical attackers, either boosting past their attack stat with special defense boost, or healing and dropping attack with Strength Stat. This combination will allow us to set up on a variety of Pokemon, hopefully including the Volcanion. Our 48 speed makes this easier, allowing us to outspeed max HP and attack-based variants, facilitating our setup opportunities. Magagacha and Shadow Ball are the standard coverage moves, hitting Jason's entire team either neutrally or super effectively. As a lead though, we need Sinistcha's offensive output to prevent Pokemon like Sandy Shocks from getting up entry hazards for free in the early game, which it can do against many of my more common leads. Mudsdale plays a very simple role on this team, looking to be a blanket defensive check for offensive threats like Lycanroc Dusk and Incineroar, while also being a way to get up Stealth Rocks as early as possible. Given how many new physical threats were added to LTM this season, it was crucial to draft a Pokemon like Mudsdale that can lock down the majority of them. Lycanroc Dust being the first one we come across this season, a Pokemon I've really come to enjoy in standard Scarlet and Violet Draft League. Outside of the obvious Earthquake, we have Body Press to help push more damage past Umbreon, and Stone Edge to hit Araquanid, and maybe even a Terra Noctowl if Jason is feeling adventurous. With all the powerful special attackers on Jason's team, Assault Vest Gudra Hisui was a no-brainer this week, with a set focus on mixed defensive investment, leaning into the raw power of Stab Draco Meteor to push through damage. This is our main check to Volcanion, looking to take a powerful Steam Eruption or Flamethrower with relative ease, getting us an opportunity to deal massive damage back to it, or another Pokemon with our stab coverage. Flash Cannon gives us a super effective stab against the Terra Fairy set, while Body Press and Knockoff give us differing options, allowing us to push past especially defensive Umbreon, or knock up a key item on the Volcanion or another one of Jason's defensive pieces. With Weezing on Jason's team, it's important we bring our grounded Poison and Monkey Dory to prevent Toxic Spikes from taking over our team. Despite the criticism Monkey Dory gets, it is more than just a Toxic Spikes absorber on this team and in this matchup. Psychic and Poison coverage are great into Jason's team, only walled by the Umbreon, which we can get U-turn out on to a more threatening option like our Tauros. Focus Blast might have been a miss in this scenario, especially with Taunt being tough to click into a lot of Jason's defensive options, but the Toxic Chain ability will be key to helping keeping the Umbreon low, assuming we don't see Covert Cloak. Now, I did draft Talonflame for its speed, but a lot of its utility this season is going to come defensively, taking advantage of its strong typing with heavy duty boots and access to recovery and roost. In this battle, Talonflame was my main pivot for Shaman, allowing me to take hit and either throw a powerful Hurricane or a Flamethrower into my opponent's team, or U-turn into a threat like Monkey Dory or Sinistcha. Our investment mirrors this role, going with the full special defense investment, foregoing any additional speed or attack that might help in very unique situations. Tauros Paldea Aqua is the final inclusion on the team. After building throughout the week, I came to the realization that the team needed a better lead sequence against Araquanid. Now, you may notice that I have Liquidation over Raging Bull, but let's move past that. The Assault Vest allows us to switch into some of Volcanion's powerful stabs as well, threatening to switch in with a powerful close combat. Stone Edge is our main coverage move to hit Arachnid, and Earthquake provides a decent mid-round click. Importantly, a move that doesn't make contact, which is important against a player who runs quite a few Rocky Helmets on their teams. And that concludes our first build of LTM Season 2. Will we win our first game of the season or start behind the 8-ball for back-to-back leagues? Let's find out. All right, our first battle of the season is against Jason. He has Terra Steel on his Volcanion. An interesting choice, maybe not the first one I was expecting. I feel like Steel gives you a lot of like random weaknesses to things that like aren't necessarily good. I expect lead Sandy Shock because I thought Arachnid would come, and I'm a little bit regretting not having Frostlass now, but we're gonna lead with Sinistcha because that leads the best into the Sandy Shocks. And a lot gives me the most options from here, right? It kind of conceals my lead a little bit. I could see him leading something like Weezing, but I think if I look at like where I want this game to be, I don't want to lead poorly against the, what's it called? I don't want to lead poorly against, I can't even talk right now. I don't want to lead poorly against the fucking, what's it called? The Sandy Shocks. That's my main concern here. I expected this lead to potentially be one of the leads to come out. We're going to go straight into our Mudstill here. This is a pretty good answer to this. All things considered, it was a broken answer to this, to be honest. I expect the Stealth Rock here. Could be a taunt. And he's just going to get up his Stealth Rocks here. So this is just a Stealth Rock lead. I'll be honest, I kind of just expect to get taunted here. I think taunt's the most likely play here. It's, you know what? I'm going to force him to taunt, right? If he just taunts on my rocks, that's fine. We get more information about that. I obviously would have liked to have body press there maybe. But like Weezing is such a free switch there that, I don't know, it's one of those things that I don't think is beneficial to me. I could make a double here actually into Weezing. Into my Monkey Dory now. Now that he stayed in and taunted, I think it's pretty likely that he switches here, right? Like you have such a free play into Weezing. So I'm just gonna go into my Monkey Dory here. Start to push a little bit of advantage. Double Dan, that's gotta be Weezing, right? Double Dan, yeah, shout out Weezing. All right, let's go. Let's get Monkey Dory. Let's start getting this game rocking. Big double. We need to make doubles like this, I think, in this game. Kind of just like that's the way that my team is. Realistically, that's kind of how it plays. I'm curious to see what a switch in will be here. I assume it's Umbreon. Is this likely play to go into? Would love to get a Toxic Chain on that Umbreon early. That would be a huge start to this game if I can get this thing Toxic Chained. Wow, no Toxic. That's crazy. No love for the game. From here, I have a few options. I think Tauros is obviously my best option at this point. It is the Pokemon that does, in theory, the most damage across this team. It brings Weezing in again. I get to click Liquidation for free here, do a good amount of damage to that Pokemon, and we get to learn a little bit about its set, right? And that's kind of the main thing that I'm looking to do here, is just learn as much about this team as I can. He is going to withdraw, so we'll get some chip damage on that Weezing. He's not going that. Okay. Oh, he goes Shaman. Okay, that was, yeah. I guess this is also a very obvious switch in as well. He does reveal to be Rocky Helmet Shaman. Good to know. So his initial switch into this is actually not the Weezing, which I would have thought it would be, to be honest. My initial switch into this is Talonflame, Boots Talonflame. Can take basically any hit this wants to throw at us, especially where it's Rocky Helmet. Not really worried about this thing at all. So we're settling into the game here a little bit, making a lot of plays, just kind of getting around this team the best that we can. And you know, our end game is Sinistcha, right? With the Calm Mind set. That is going to be kind of our main, definitely our main realistic game plan to win here. And in comes the Volcanion. Volcanion would have really liked to have got my rocks up here early on in this game, but that's just unfortunately not how it's played out. Luckily, we do have AV Goodra here for this Volcanion. We do have Body Press as well, so one of the things that like is kind of annoying about this set, the fact that he's Terra Steel, is kind of mitigated by the fact that we do have Body Press on this set. So in comes this Pokemon. I think you're Terra Stealing. I guess I can figure out what type of set this is. based on the damage, right? Like if I go to Volcanion, Steam Eruption did like so much less than that. This looks to just be modest, maybe modest boots. I think I'm just gonna knock. I'm gonna be honest. Obviously something like an Earth Power could come out here, but I think I just want to knock off here. Remove any random heavy duty boots that might come out. Given this set, I can certainly take a multiple Earth Powers with ease here. And that won't be a problem the rest of the battle. Now that I know that Steel, how much is Body Press doing? Oh, he is Earthquake, okay. A little bit annoying, but we do get a knockoff here. And it's Assault Vest, okay. So that Earthquake did about 160 something. I think that's fine. I think I could get aggressive and go back into my Talonflame here now. Talonflame is definitely good in this matchup. But I think like if I want to think about where I'm going in this game, I want to continue to be on the front foot. But I think if I want to be on the front foot, Tauros was kind of for Arachnid. It can switch into this. It can switch into a few things. I think it's actually more responsible to go into the Tauros here. I could see Jason trying to drop a Draco to get a little bit more aggressive here on this turn. And I can save this Pokemon as like a Pokemon that I can come in on like a Weezing or an Umbreon later, drop a Draco, a Body Press. Get some damage later. So force the Tear out here, remove the Assault Vest. That'll be really nice for Talonflame Calyxa later. And he just goes for the Earthquake. So I could have gone Talonflame there, but again, that's not really a responsible play, right? Like there's no reason for me to do something like that in this sequence. Now, I think here, if I think about what I want to do on this play, I think I'm going to just Earthquake. Yeah, I'll just Earthquake. I want to prevent Rocky Helmet damage from that Shaman primarily. That's kind of like the big thing I want to do here. And he's just going to go into the... Oh, I misread the nicknames. I thought he was going to the freaking Double Dan, but no. Yeah, I want to prevent the Rocky Helmet damage the best that I can. Now, he obviously can kind of get me in a little bit of a blender here, because some of these switches are pretty telegraphed. But once again, this endgame is predicated on winning with Sinistcha. And if I look about where the sets are going, we don't have... It's AV Volcanion, which with that item removed, we can Calm Mind all over that Pokemon and be very happy with where we're at. It's also hard now, like, what do you actually switch into Talonflame here that's, like, productive? Right? I think you make a double here into Omnidroid. Okay, that's something new. Sandy Shocks, okay. I was going to say, he could go into something... He could make the double into Lycanroc, but that's so tough on that specific turn to make that play. And he has to know, given the way that I played it, that the speed is definitely to his advantage. We are... I'm trying to think about what our best way to play this game out is. Obviously, we don't want to be sacking Pokemon where we don't have to. And I don't want to put this Pokemon in harm's way if we don't have to. I think realistically, I can just go Sinistcha, right? Like, there's no reason not to. Jason's doing a really good job, you know, calling my plays, calling the way that I want to play this game. And he just wants to Earth Power. Okay, that does a lot. Is that choice specs? 112? I guess I'm more physically bulky, so there's a good chance that it's not, but... Sandy Shocks. It did 111. That might be some sort of boosting item, actually. I could Matcha Gotcha. I could Shadow Ball. I think a switch is obviously coming here, though. So I'm just going to Matcha Gotcha to get a little bit of HP back. We know it's not choice now, considering the fact that it switched moves. I could see Shaman coming out here. But Volcanion is obviously a possibility. Given the fact that it is physical, I can Strength Sap on that Pokemon and gain some HP back. But it looks like we're just going into the Umbreon here. So I'm okay to just Matcha Gotcha all over that Pokemon. A burn would be nice here. I'd like to get some, obviously, damage on that Pokemon. And now... I don't want to say that I'm starting to feel concerned about how this battle is going, because I don't want to show like a sign of weakness in my commentary right now. But I do wish this was going just a little bit better. I want to see... I think here I want to go... I have to preserve this Sinistcha, right? Like, Sinistcha is so important to this endgame. I'm going to go into... I mean, there's a good chance you just have Baton Pass, right? I kind of just want to see if he'll stay in and make like a random click, right? Because if I go Talonflame, then I get a U-turn off and I get to reset the momentum back in my favor. So Jason is making a lot of plays to get himself into an advantageous position, and we get Toxic, which is not good. So that's good information to note here, is that this is Toxic. And if anything was going to take the Toxic, I'm going to be honest, this is a pretty good candidate to have. This Pokemon really doesn't need its HP for that long in this battle. I'm just going to U-turn out here. Just get some information. I think at this point, he's likely to either try to heal up this Pokemon, or like Baton Pass or something. So I'm going to get my Tauros in, because now close combat's a free click, right? Like Weezing can obviously come in, and that would be super problematic. But then we get more information on that Weezing. And it is just going to be Moonlight, okay. So at this point, I think I'm just going to close combat. He's shown that he wants to go Shaman on this. I could Liquidation again. It's taken a few hits, but close combat into close combat kills. I guess I could Stone Edge as a mid-ground, but I think the thing is if he goes into the Weezing, he's likely to want a Pain Split. So I think this is actually fine. And he does go into the Shaman. Okay, that's good for me. So I catch this Pokemon on a close combat. Is this a 2-hit KO? No, it's not. We get some good chip here, as the Shaman is starting to finally get whittled down, but we're running out of a Pokemon here. Now, if any Pokemon's we're gonna lose any Pokemon here in this spot, I'm perfectly okay to lose this Pokemon. So I'm gonna be honest, I want to attack again, right? Like if I think, what is this Pokemon useful for here? This and Lycanroc Dust, but at this point, I'm pretty sure he can outspeed me and kill me with like a random CC or something, especially if I don't Intimidate it. I have to get it on a free switch. So I'd rather just keep this Pokemon low, and he could have like the potential to just randomly switch here, and I get some good chip damage somewhere. So let's just CC. If he sacks this Pokemon, then that's good for me. And if he just attacks, that's also good for me. Could be something like a Rest here. Rest talk would obviously be really, really good. And he's just Synthing, okay. So force it into a position to Synth. Obviously that would have been a really good turn to get a free switch, but it feels like we're running out of options a little bit, right? Like if you look at how we're playing, it feels like Jason's starting to kind of have all the answers to my team. But at this point, I'm still not really concerned about how this game is going, right? Like my Sinistcha endgame is still pretty good. The Umbreon has to be taken care of at some point, but I still have a lot of tools to be able to do that. Obviously, would have really liked to have seen a Toxic early, and we get a really, really good switch here into the Talonflame. So I think at this point, I just want to Hurricane. I just want to put as much damage as I can on something. I think he's likely to bring in Umbreon here. I can U-turn on the Umbreon, get back in the Goodra, and then Goodra gets me an actual beneficial turn here, right? Like if I think about like how I actually get a good turn out of this, I think it's Goodra rather than Tauros at this point. He goes Double Dan instead. Okay, into the Weezing. So this is probably some sort of physically defensive set. So I'll take a Hurricane on this. This is obviously not doing anything. Free little confusion. We'll take that all day. And this is just leftovers. Yeah. Or Black Sludge, rather. At this point, I'm just going to U-turn just because it lets me more damage out of this turn. And I'm just going to go hard into my Monkey Dory. And when I go into Monkey Dory here, I think I'm going to U-turn again. Of course. Because then I can get in my... I got to get in my Goodra and start body pressing, I think. Really, really want to see Confusion here on this turn. That would be really good for me. Will-O-Wisp. Okay, I don't care about Willow. Willow on this Pokemon certainly does not matter. And now he has to switch here. I don't really have an option to do anything else besides U-turn. Because even if he does go for something random like Stay In, then I can just... I can go into Goodra still. This build... One of the problems I've had, at least with this team thinking in the builder, is it felt a little bit passive, but I feel like that's kind of low tier in general. I really need to see this Toxic chain here. I really need to Toxic this Pokemon. That would be huge. That would change this game, I think. I guess not. Unfortunate. As I said, I really need to get rid of this Pokemon, and a Toxic would have been super, super helpful on one of these turns earlier in the game. So I'm going to go Goodra here. I know Goodra is going to be able to shrug off anything that this Pokemon wants to do to me. And I have Body Press, which is a really, really good thing to click on this turn. So I'm just going to Body Press here. Try to maximize my damage output. If he goes Wheezing, I just drop a Draco. We've kind of treaded water here a little bit in this game. But at a certain point, we got to start making some pieces fall. Which I think we do have the capability to do. We just have to be mindful. Getting my Stealth Rocks up earlier would have been so nice. Let's see what he goes into here. Omnidroid. Is this the... This is an interesting switch in. I could have easily Draco'd on that turn. That's obviously a possibility. The problem is this Pokemon is now particularly threatening to my team. I have to... Do I make a call here and drop a Draco on a Volt Switch? This Pokemon still has a lot of value, so I don't think that's necessarily the best thing to do. I'm gonna be honest. I think we have to sack a Pokemon here, and I think it's just gonna be the best to sack Tauros. If he goes for Volt Switch, that obviously is a little bit unfortunate. We could have gotten some good value out of that turn. But I think it's just most responsible to get rid of this. It's not going to be able to make progress against Jason's team here. And he is just going to Earth Power. Play it responsibly. Good on Jason to do that. I think here I'm going to go into my Mudsdale. Mudsdale pressures. Gets a pretty good pressure here with Earthquake. I think I have to get my rocks up too, to be honest. I think getting my rocks up is super important at this point, and if I don't get my rocks up here, I'm starting to wonder when I'm going to ever get them up, right? I think Wheezing is the super safe play. I think you have to respect just getting EQ'd here out of nowhere. Well, not out of nowhere, right? You have so many free switches here to lower the risk of this Earthquake. He could have Taunt on this as well, but I don't know if that's a risk he wants to take right now. Jason's in a position where he's so far ahead. A risk doesn't really benefit him on this turn. And he does kind of make that assumption or make that calculation. And we get our Stealth Rocks up. Very important. Would have obviously liked to get those up earlier. I would have liked to... I don't know. I don't need to second guess myself now. That's for after the battle. But getting my rocks up here is super, super important. Seed Flare is super obvious here. I'm thinking what Jason would do here in this spot. If I need to play around anything aggressively. I need to find a turn to get this healed up, but at this point I'm just going to continue the game plan that I've been on. The fact that I switched out first, I don't remember the speed tier for this exactly. It wasn't really relevant for the matchup. Would really, really like to see this thing stay in. Alright, it is just going to Seed Flare. Keep it simple for Jason. And now that my rocks are up, I actually feel like I can make progress in this battle. And I can start with a U-turning here. Yeah, he's gonna withdraw. I feel like I can finally start to make progress in this game. A Double Dan comes out, and now I think I kind of want to go into my Goodra here on this Double Dan. Draco Meteor should be a kill here if it's a physical set, which it looks to probably be. And this is with no investment, right? He hasn't seen any of my special attack investment, so he has to assume this Draco has a good chance of killing. So I think I gotta pick my spot here, right? And this is a great spot to drop a Draco Meteor here on this team. Yeah, that looks to definitely be put in range of Fizz Def, Wheezing. I guess it gets a little boost here, but of HP. But this is a great turn to drop a Draco for no investment, and he has to assume some investment given that I've come in here. So let's see. Drop a Draco. Alright, doesn't kill, but puts that Pokemon under massive pressure, and he Will-O-Wisps. So I get another chance to drop a Draco later in the battle. So that is a good turn for me. I gotta find turns like this in this game, right? This is where I'm gonna be able to really make progress in this battle, is to have turns like that. I think here I have to drop another Draco. I guess Flash Cannon should kill, right? Yeah, let's just go for Flash Cannon It's going to pick up the kill on this Pokemon, and it still gets me chip elsewhere, and I can still come in on this particularly, I think, at another point if he chooses to save it. So if I knock down one piece of the puzzle here, that's good. That's a start in this battle, right? We need to make some sort of forward momentum in this game, and this is a good way to start that. All right, he does switch. I assume into something like the Volcanion here. Yeah, in comes the Volcanion. Obviously, I could have body pressed, but that's not really going to do a lot of damage either. And I saved this Pokemon because I need to take an opportunity later in the game against that Pokemon. Let me see my Talonflame speed. My Talonflame should be outspeeding all of these like AV Volcanion sets. Yeah, my Volcanion is outspeeding all of these sets. The problem is I I think I have to sack this Pokemon though. I don't have a good answer. I don't have a good switch. I don't have a good switch is kind of the issue that I'm running into here now. Problem is my Talonflame is not even doing that much damage either. This is looking really dicey. I think we have to sack this Pokemon, unfortunately. I don't think I have another good option. Flame Charge. Ooh, that is potentially tough. Okay, so we know this set basically now. So it's EQ, Eruption, Charge, and then something else. I think we have to go into the Sinistcha here in Terra. Yeah, I think I have to go in here and start doing something here. Strength Sap. I could Shadow Ball to potentially get this going, but I think if I Calm Mind and then Strength Sap, what is a Strength Sap count? So I'm gonna get like 230 back at some point. I should be. The problem is I'm not faster. I'm gonna Strength Sap. I gotta get some HP back here on this turn. This Flash Cannon is gonna be rough. I should be able to live it though. Yeah, I do. Okay. So this is gonna give me 230 on my HP. That did about 170. Matcha Gotcha is giving me like 30. Matcha Gotcha can technically pull me out of range here. Though I think Calm Mind is potentially better. I think I have to play around. I think I just have to risk a crit at this point. Right? I think that's kind of the situation I'm in. I think I have to risk a crit. Alright, let's Terra and Calm Mind. I think the effective stat of this is in the 100s, so I should be fine, and then I should be able to start making some potential progress here in this battle. But I think we're running out of options. The Flame Charge was really, really good here, and I probably could have picked up a kill at some point, but... So this is going to do about 170, and then the Calm Mind will bring me out of range. It did like 150 something. So I think I have to Strength Sap again on this turn, and then I can probably Calm Mind again. And then I should be able to pick up the kill with Shadow Ball potentially against max HP. Yeah. So let's Strength Sap here, get some HP back. He's gonna withdraw. Okay. I get some HP back on something. I at least get this thing to high HP. The question is what does he expect my speed creep to be here? I mean, he's obviously Toxicking, right? Yeah, I mean, he's definitely Toxicking on this turn. But I got out of a dicey situation. The problem is I don't have a good way to play around it further, unfortunately. I think if I go... I think that thing still has a chance to win. I think if I go Mudsdale and start putting pressure on with Body Press, I can still make some progress here. If he goes for something like Encore, that would obviously be... I guess I could have stayed and it would have been Fire, but yeah, I have to play around Toxic here. I maybe should have considered my Terra typing to be able to handle stuff like that, but I mean, it is what it is, right? We kind of not much we can really do about the prep at this point. We gotta play the team that we brought here. And I'm just gonna body press here. Body press is doing the most damage to this. And it should at least pick up the wheezing after Stealth Rocks, given that it's at such low HP. And that'll at least give me a start in this game, though I think he's gonna go Shaman. I could have doubled here, but I don't think the double is even that enticing of a play. I guess the double gets me a situation where I can go Sinistcha and start setting up again, but... Alright, he does go Wheezing. Alright, so he's going to give up this Pokemon. That's good for me. We'll take one, right? We'll take one here. Got to get something going. One less Pokemon to deal with is obviously important. That Pokemon also like randomly had like T-Spikes and shit that like could have been problematic. So I'm actually super content with that. Now the question here is, what does he go into? He could just go Volcanion again, which is kind of the problem, right? He could just drop a Steam Eruption. Yeah, here comes Volcanion. Super troll Pokemon here in this spot on this turn. If I think about what's my best path to victory. What's my best path to victory? Steam Eruption is always killing this, right? Like there's not a planet that this doesn't kill. Yeah, holy crap, yeah. The world does not exist. Not one at least that Jason not one that Jason should be in at the very least. I think I have to sack Talonflame here. It's the most expendable Pokemon as of right now. He could obviously elect to go for a Flame Charge, but I think I like going for this. Yeah, just sack off the Talonflame. Responsible move. And let's go back into Sinistcha and start doing our thing. Man, if that Umbreon was toxic, I feel like this game would have been so much different. But it's hard for me to really like go out there like expecting that to happen, right? Like I feel like that's a little bit kind of not BM, but like you know what I mean. It feels like a little troll to kind of go for that. So I think I'll go for Machagachi here because if he stays in, I get a chance to burn. I think he's gonna go Umbreon, so I get a chance to burn that and helps make progress there. Really, I need a status on this guy, right? I guess if I get status, I get burned, which is super annoying, but... I mean, if he gets burned, that at least helps me make some progress in this battle. And it means I can't be toxic, actually, which is kind of nice. To a certain degree. Okay, that didn't help. This toxic is obviously coming out here, so I'm just going to go back into Mudsdale. I still think this has a chance to win, right? Like Jason's not out of this game by any means. Like if I break through this Umbreon, like Jason does not have a lot that he can do. He's just gonna Moonlight. Okay, safe play on his part to go for that. And now I think if I'm Jason, I think Jason has. I don't think Jason has to make a play here, but I think Jason's going to make it the play into the Shaman here. I think it's pretty obvious for him to do that. So I think I have to go into Monkey Dory and just punish that, prevent that from happening. And he does withdraw. Okay, that's good for me. That's good for me. I need, as I said, I need stuff to start going my way here a little bit in this battle, and this is one of the things that can start going my way. Is keeping up this this pressure. Because this game, like this Sinistcha, like as I was thinking of the team builder, haven't recorded it obviously yet, so I don't know what I said. But I actually think that like Sinistcha has so much good inevitability in this battle that like I have no issues just like kind of going for it here. The question here is, does he go Volcanion again or just go back into Umbreon? Umbreon's real, or the thing is, if he goes into the Volcanion, I can just Strength Sap back up to full HP. So I think I'm just going to Sludge Wave here, see if he gives me this Pokemon. He's not going to. Would love to see like an Umbreon here instead of the Volcanion. He does just go Volcanion. Crazy that he didn't nickname this Volcanion, by the way. Like, that's kind of BM. I also think he has to scout Focus Blast here, right? Like, you can't, like, Focus Blast is pretty free into this team. You kind of have to scout it, I would think. I mean, it does, I mean, scouting it or not really doesn't change anything, right? Like, if you look at the Focus Blast, I think you would be crazy not to scout it on this turn. So I'm just going to U-turn here. He does not scout it. Okay, that's fine though. That doesn't really like change anything about this battle, right? You can probably make a potential deduction based on how I play that I don't have it. And then we just go back into Sinistcha and kind of continue this cycle. My timer is pretty low here, which is a little annoying, but that's okay. So that's going to do a lot of friggin' damage, but I mean, we just strength sap back to full HP and we're perfectly fine. Given the fact that this was max HP, we should be pretty free to outspeed and strength sap. Oh, whoa, how much speed do you have? That's not good. Uh-oh. Given that you were AV, I feel like 48. You must have, yeah, you definitely have a good amount of speed then. That's a little bit unfortunate. Yeah, I guess I lose this game then. Yeah, if I got the strength sap off, I have a little bit more I can play to there. Maybe I could have sacked this Pokemon and like gone for game a little bit in that sequence. Maybe that's a little bit risky. But I was running out of tools anyway, right? Like there's not much I could really do about what was going on. I guess the fact that he's speed, I have to bank on this being some scuffed EV spread that doesn't kill with body press, or that doesn't kill with steam eruption to get another kill here. But I think the likelihood of that being the case is very low, yeah. All right, it looks like Jason is going to be able to pull this one out. Really bad showing to start this season. I had a really good week of draft 2. I won like my ADV game. I won another league. Like I won a bunch of games this week. But this one, I think the build was lacking something. If I had like Focus Blast, maybe this game turns out a little bit differently. Definitely want to have to revisit because I think this build was probably, you know, in my hope it's going to be my weakest build that I have all season. My hope is that you don't see a build that's much worse than this. He's just going to Flame Charge here. Does this even outspeed? I guess with Flame Charge, I should have expected him to have some speed, right? He could be max speed. Don't be max speed. Give me this Pokemon. He is just max speed. Okay. Damn. All right. Good game to Jason. I think a lot of that comes down to my play, I think, in this battle. I had a lot of opportunities to really push the initiative more. I had some situations where I could have maybe taken the Lycanroc Dusk out, taken the Sandy Shocks out, and really kind of got ahead in this battle. And I just didn't take those opportunities. So I think that's what it comes down to. Next week we play against Tone. I think the team concept is there. It's just got to be better execution. So thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, like it as always, and we'll see you all next time.